and we are very excited to host this panel discussion today on the occasion of University Mental Health Day. I am Shubhika Agarwal. I'll be the moderator. I'm a psychological counselor for SKU, and I'm based in the Bangalore campus. SKU is the Symbiosis Center for Emotional Well-being. We are established with the hope of meeting the mental health needs of the students, and we are very excited to bring this program to you. And the entire idea of this panel discussion that we come with is to bring together the student community, hear your views of mental health, and understand what we are already doing to make mental health accessible and what more can we do to make it even more accessible for our people. For our panelists, we'll be introducing them really quickly. We have some really young talents here, and we're very excited to hear from them. But before that, just a little bit about what we are doing here. We are celebrating an event called Mighty Minds. And we have 6 panelists with us, which are university students of Symbiosis from different campuses across SIU, with an aim to talk and promote mental health on campus. These are the students who have been actively contributing towards the university mental health through their various clubs and committees. And they are here to share their opinion on how to create more mental health awareness, how to build a more mental health sensitive community. And we are very thankful to have you all here. I would request all our panelists to switch on the videos. I think it's already on. Thank you so much for that. And if we could just get quick introductions. So if we can just hear your name, the institute that you come with, and if you're any clubs or committee that you want to mention, then you can also do that. And then we'll start. Anyone can start. Delight, would you like to go ahead?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Delight Peters. I'm a second year student of Symbiosis School of Culinary Arts, and I'm from Nigeria, and I'm the administrative coordinator for the International Students Council in Pune, and a member of the Mental Health Champion of Symbiosis.
Thank you so much. Manas, would you like to go next?
Yes, my name is Manas Sisode. I am in the first year batch of BSc Mental Health. That is the initiative of SKU itself. I reside in the Hill-based campus of SIU, and here I am the member of CWC committee.
Thank you so much, Manas. Nishchita, let's go.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible? Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. My name is Nishchita Shetty. I'm from the Bangalore campus, that is SIBM Bangalore, and I'm in a committee called Cultural and International Relations Committee. We are in charge of events and all of that, and I'm also a mental health champion. So nice meeting all of you.
Thank you. Krishna?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Krishna. I'm from SIOM Nashik. I represent placement committee at SIOM. So that is brief about it. Thank you.
Kirtana?
Hi, hello. I hope I'm audible. Okay, lovely.
A little please, Kirtana, can you
be a little louder?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi, my name is Kirtana, and I'm from SSLA, Symbiosis School of Liberal Arts. I'm in Vimannagar, and I'm the grievance officer in our student council. So yeah, and like most of you, I'm also in the mental health champions, and I hope to have a good discussion with you guys.
Thank you. Tejasvi?
Greetings. My name is Tejasvi Chabra. I'm a second year BBA student at SCMS Bengaluru. I am the Social Responsibility Club head. I'm also part of the Mental Health Champs 2023.
Perfect. Thank you so much for those introductions, guys. We'll be starting, and we thought that a good idea could be starting with an activity. So what we are going to do is I'm going to share a link with you. It's a link to a word cloud, and all our panelists, the 6 panelists, I am requesting you to add one word. When you see my screen, you'll get to know what I'm talking about. Tanvi, I'm just going to share my screen, and you may want to stop sharing.
Yes, just give me a minute.
All right. So, panelists, our first question to you. What comes to mind when you think of emotional well-being or mental health? The link that I've shared with you will allow you to enter 2 to 3 words. So if you have any specific, so it could be a phrase. We are looking for words, but it could also be a phrase. We're open to that. And yeah, if there's any specific word that comes to your mind when you think of university mental health, emotional well-being, and if there's specific words that you would like to type out for us, that would be great. And then your results would be shown here. So yeah, go ahead. And I'll give you 30 seconds. Is that okay? Great, awesome. In case you're unable to access the link, just let me know. Feel free to enter more than 1 word. That's completely okay. Okay, it's amazing to see we're getting some really good responses here. I'm just going to read out a few. I can see mental stability as the highlight, which is great to see. Acceptance and free flow action. Yeah, would anyone like to share as the workload is increasing till then? Would any of our panelists like to share what comes to their mind when they think of university mental health or emotional well-being in general? Anyone can go. It's completely okay.
When we talk about university mental health, I guess the most important thing is the friend circle we have, the people who we spend the most of our time with, and obviously the teachers. Like there are only 2 parts of a college student. That is, one is either going to the college, and second is coming back to the hostel and enjoying the life with friends. So I guess friends and the mentors.
Amazing. I completely agree with that. I think friends, mentors, all of that adds to your social support, and social support is such a big part of what university mental health is, right? And the idea is to build a community, build a thriving community, and that's with people. And yeah, your response definitely is something that makes so much sense. Any of our other panelists would like to take?
Yes. For me, emotional well-being, I would like to compare it with water. So how a free-flowing water flows, it has ups and downs. The problem really comes when there is a blockage. So that is how our mental health and our emotional state should be. We should be like free-flowing. It is important to have clear mind without any blockages. So
Mhm. Completely agree. That makes sense. Thank you so much. So as I'm hearing all of these words, right, like words and mental stability and emotional well-being, free flowing, all of these things that are coming to us, I'm wondering like how, like, do these words come often in your day-to-day conversations with your friends, family? Is this like, you guys talk about mental health? Is that a day-to-day conversation, or is it something that's still not talked about as much? Again, anyone can go, and we would like all of
Okay.
our panelists to respond. Yeah, go ahead, Delight.
Okay, these words now, like some of the words mentioned here, yeah, mental health is very important, but some of us now are not like open to everybody. Like not everybody around us is like, let me see, we're not comfortable with everyone. Even some people can't comfortably talk about their mental health with their parents because of probably their relationship with their parents, even your peers. So there are certain people in our lives that you must be very close to that person for the person to openly tell you something he or she is going through. So in our day-to-day life, it comes up, but not with everyone we meet, but with very close people. People like we get close to. Like when you have a friend, you don't just let the person be a friend. You try to know what is going on with this person. what is this person going through? Some people are happy outside, but inside they are like really depressed. And so you really need to be close to them for them to open up to you, and then you are able to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing your opinion. I think one thing that comes to our mind is accessibility. How accessible is mental health? Who is able to access it? And of course, at university level, our aim is to create that, and SKU creates that, or at least we aim to create that. And thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else, like in your day-to-day conversation, how often are these topics talked about? How often is mental health in general talked about with friends, with peers specifically?
Hello, ma'am.
Go ahead, Nishita.
Yeah. Hello. So earlier it wasn't that frequent, I would say, and now that we, as you mentioned, accessibility, when our friends know that there is somewhere they can go to, some person they can approach when they're having issues of their own, that's when these things are highlighted a lot. And again, when it comes to our academics, we are having our examinations coming, in this month. So I think yes, gradually the importance of emotional well-being in our campus has increased, and yes, there is hesitance. Still, it will be always, but yeah, that's what we're trying to help people out with.
Absolutely. And yeah, of course, there is hesitance. I completely agree to that. But the idea is it promoted? Are we talking about it? Is the conversation starting? Right. And I'm really glad to hear that you feel that the conversation is starting. And I'm really excited to hear about other participants also. Kirtana, would you like to take a go?
Yeah, I was actually wanting to say something. Um, the thing is, I agree a lot that the conversation is starting, but I think it's at that point where everyone acknowledges the fact that yes, we need to talk about mental health, and everyone understands at a very basic level that it's something that's important just as much as physical health. It's something that we're beginning to understand. But the thing is, there's not a lot of people, I'd say, that's taking that first step. So conversations regarding and revolving around mental health happens in very close circles. It happens with your friends, and that's great. At least that's it's a starting point, and it's wonderful that uh, at least there's spaces that you can communicate where what you're feeling. Most of the times, that it's usually you get to express how you feel negatively as well. Like if you're feeling stressed, if you're worried about something, you can talk about that with your friends, and it's great that circles there. But talking about it in a much larger scale is something that we still need to work on, I'd say.
Absolutely. I 100% agree that even though conversations are starting, it's still happening in close quarters with friends, with closed ones, with people that you can trust. It's still a topic that's not talked about as openly as one would like it to, right? Which also, which is something that I'm thinking about. That is that something that is happening on all campuses? Like how comfortable do you think, or not just campuses, like at a university student level in general across, right? How comfortable do you think people are talking about their own mental health, not just in terms of conversation, but talking about one's own mental health? How often do you think that happens? How much do you think comfortable or not comfortable?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead, Dilip.
Okay, I feel like for now, what I've observed is that yes, the promotion work is going on and is really helping, but some students are still not really comfortable openly talking about their mental health. Like, there's something in the college, in the university, called the mentor mentee section that goes on for the a teacher is appointed and you have to discuss with the student. Now, I have some of my peers who come after going on with the mentor mentee session. They are saying like that for in the teacher's mind, like the teacher feels like he's knowing about the person, but they can't open up to the teacher. He or she is a teacher, and they are afraid of judgment or afraid of reporting the person to the or like taking the person as oh he's doing this, he's that, or they are not easily opening up to the teachers. So they are easily opening up to their peers. Like among friends, we are always talking about mental health. People are talking about relationships. People are talking about family. People are talking about their economic status with their friends and peers mostly. But with the teachers and the method the university employs, sometimes it's not, the students, they don't open up like everything they go through with the teacher or with their mentors or mentees in college. So I believe that the counselors are like very important, like the counselors who are here in the college or in the university for that purpose only is really necessary because they can easily open up to this person because they know he or she knows what what to do about it or knows why he or she is going through this or that. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that was the aim is to create a community which is, of course, more connected, more mental health sensitive towards one another. And that is also why we launched the Mental Health Champions program, so that the peers can connect with one another to build a student community where mental health is promoted at a student level, so that the trust amongst one another can increase a lot. So that's, I think, one way we are trying to combat that challenge. But thank you so much for sharing that. Coming back to our main thing, right? Like, so as a university student, there are so many things that are going on in your life. There's like, from what I understand, you guys have a lot of pressure of assignment. There are career goals that you may want to achieve, personal life that's going on. I'm really curious to understand, like, what are some of the challenges that a university student typically faces in terms of mental health? Like, what are some of the mental health challenges that a university student may face that you can talk about something that you have personally faced, or if you have heard someone facing any specific mental health challenge as a university student, we would really like to know more about that. And again, anyone can go. If someone has not shared, I would really like to hear their opinion on it. So maybe I think Tejasvi, would you like to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I think
state. So I think home that everybody suffers from. Yes. And so speaking to everyone, and homesickness is something that university students go through, and assignments, pressure to meet the deadlines is also another thing. So I think keeping all these things in mind, we have to take care of our mental health. These are some of the things that university students have to face.
Yeah, absolutely. I think homesickness is something that is definitely present since so many of you guys are leaving homes and coming to a completely different environment, a new environment altogether, which also brings us to a first point of how much social support plays an important role in maintaining the mental health of students. Anyone else who would like to take a go of what challenges a university student typically faces?
Yes.
Oh.
ma'am. So, yeah,
All right. So first thing, we actually have the academic stress that is common for all. Then we have lack of resources. Like as a student, when you start to live alone, then you realize how well you have to manage your money and all the time. Like you have to spend time for the assignments. You have to go meet your friends. You have to call your family and all of that. So you learn time management. Then we have the changing relationships. Changing relationships also come with changing expectations. Like the expectations which I had from my parents are much different now as compared to when I was at home. The expectations that my parents have from me, the expectations that my old friends have from me, that my cousins, all my relatives, all my friends, the teachers. So it keeps changing. And at this age, I guess every one of us goes through that early life crisis where each of one is like trying to find out what we are passionate about, what we are actually into, like what we have done all these 18 years. And then suddenly on social media, we see some 17-year-old having a startup, earning millions and all. And then we all get like for fear of missing out, like, what, are we missing out on this train? Are we not being successful? So we all feel that a bit of pressure. And then in that, sometimes we take some wrong choices, like making the wrong peer groups, then maybe, engaging into substance abuse or things like that. So like there is a lot of things, life is going up and down, you don't have time, you don't realize, and suddenly like 1 semester, 2 semester, it's over in a snap. So that's basically student life.
Absolutely. Seems like you guys have a lot on your plates to deal with, which also, which I'm thinking about that there's so much that you're navigating with, and like what helps you navigate through so much that you're going with. And we'll come to that question, but I would just like to hear one more person talk about the challenges that a university mental health, a university student faces, right?
Can I proceed?
Go ahead.
Yes. So adding to what Manas said, I think we really expect very highly from ourselves. We pressurize ourselves as well. Like we all come from different walks of life. Um, for me personally, I have come from a small town called Belgaum. So when I came here to Bangalore, I saw the competition level that was set for me already, where I tried to, match up my levels with the others. That's where I realized that I'm being too hard on myself. It's not that I'm supposed to win the race all the time. So it's like we kind of make it very hard for ourselves in this entire journey. It's like we are having a competition with ourselves constantly, and along with that we have all these other pressures, your academic pressures, your committee related work. So there's somewhere we kind of lose track with ourselves. So I think that's very important, where we need to develop this certain awareness that you are enough, and you need to give yourself some time to grow. It's not, you can't expect things to change exponentially.
Absolutely. I think that's both beautiful answers, really. And I think that's why talking about this is so important, because as we want to know your opinion, right? As people who are on the other end, we want to know what's going on with the student's life and what we can do to help, right? So just to see, there's so much that's going on. There is internal pressure, from what I understand, that you guys are experiencing to do things. The entire FOMO idea, the fear of missing out, is definitely visible. The pressure that you put on yourself, and of course, then the external pressure that comes with it, because there's so much to do in so little time, so many experiences to have and achieve in so little time. Anyone else would like to add to this? Krishna, if you would like to add something.
Yes, ma'am. Firstly, thank you, Manas. It was a whole lot of it. You covered majority of the points. But one more thing I'd like to put across, especially for this year, because past 2 years were online. So this is basically specifically for MBA students who had quit their jobs to take up this MBA degree. So it was we could say a cruising period of time in their offices, where they have been working for 2 to 3 years for now, and suddenly they quit their job and joined a college. And MBA demands a lot, dynamic schedules, assignments, exams, the career path. So all this adds up, and it becomes difficult for a person to get adjusted in the start. So that is one area where we observed a lot of students getting stressed out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as I'm hearing about all of these challenges, right? But from what I understand, I see all of you who are facing so many different challenges, and most students face at university level. But I see you guys also thriving and being resilient and continuing what you're doing, right? And I'm wondering, like, what helps? Like, what helps to build the community, to take care of your mental health? So if you could talk about at a student level, at an individual level, what would promoting university mental health mean for you? Like, if you're talking about all of these challenges, are there specific techniques that you use to combat these challenges? Is there something that you have been doing? Are there any steps that you're taking? Because I think our listeners will be really interested to know, if there are so many challenges, what are we doing to keep ourselves going? Like, how is the perseverance coming? And yeah, I think this is a question that's open to everyone, which means that we would like to hear all of you of what helps you at an individual level and what you're already doing. So maybe if you would like, you can talk about things that you're doing to promote mental health on your campus, and to also take care of your own mental health. And if there's a story that you know of a student, keeping it completely anonymous, or if you want to talk about your own story, again, if you're comfortable, please go ahead and do that. We would really like to hear it. And again, anyone can start.
Yes, ma'am. To help students at the university level, the first and core thing which should be there is the confidentiality. So that is the area where every student will feel doubtful. So even as we are also students in the same college, so many of them will feel, can we trust them with our information? So basically, it will be something personal to them. So that is where we are going to work first. So to build the trust of the students. So they approach any SKU champion. So their information should be kept confidential.
So you're telling us at a university level, it's important to keep every information confidential so that the students can trust and talk about their experiences a lot more.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And Manas, and Krishna, can you also tell me at an individual level what you think? Like, what are you doing and what's helping and what's working?
At an individual level, just taking things lightly, not taking them too seriously. Believing that time heals everything. Physically having active, physically exercising. So these are my coping things.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else would like to go ahead, Delight.
Okay. I was saying individually, how I've managed to survive and overcome so many depression, so many mental health challenges. Okay. Most of the time, I read a lot of books and I've learned not to take anything in life so personal. So sometimes you might be with friends, you might be with somebody will say something bad to you, something, but having it in mind that I'm not going to take anything personal. So whatever it is, since it is not adding value to your life, it is not taking anything out of my life, then why should I care about? Why should I go back and begin to think about what this person said to me, what this person said to me? Just let it go, let everything be. And whenever I'm faced with a lot of pressure to do something, when I take a deep breath and believe that, yes, I can. I'm a Christian actually, so there are some Bible passages that I do quote on my own, like, with God, all things are possible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like, I just say some things and it gives me some strength in me. I'm like, yes, let's do it. Like, whatever it is. Once I do my best and it doesn't work, then fine. Everything, this world is not a bed of roses, so we don't expect that every day is going to be as sweet as the other. So I believe that, yes, any bad thing that happens, I take it as, yeah, what am I going to learn from this? What am I going to learn from that? So I don't usually see it as anything. I told my roommate sometime, he used to be someone who was so focused on his grade that if he loses one mark, he's going to keep thinking about it. He's going to make it. I told him, bro, leave this stuff alone. You have done your best. You've kept on night. You've studied, and you've written. You made a mistake. Fine. In life, if you look at the wealthiest people, if you look at the successful people, many of them were not A-class students. So why should you bother about losing one mark and you are not missing your food? You are not going for lunch because you made a mistake in the test room. You are still going to be who you are going to be. So don't take anything personal. You made a mistake in the exam, fine. Let it be. We move to the next exam. If you have a backlog, fine. We'll face it. We'll write it. We'll go back to the next exam. Nothing is like, I believe that anytime there is like a downfall or a mistake or something is going wrong in your life, what you just have to do is to go back and think, what caused this thing in my life? What made this to happen? So once you find out, like, this is the cause, and what can I do to make it not to happen again? This is how you grow. Like, next time, if something like that comes your way, you're like, yeah, I already have a system of overcoming this kind of challenge, and it's not going to bother my mental health. So some things you just have to let it be and take things gradually. Slow and steady wins the race. So no matter how fast other people have gone, I believe that if I go on my own pace, I came into this world alone and I'm going to live alone. So if the other person is successful, one day it's going to be me too. So we look at successful people and people that have become successful at a young age. There are people who became successful at 65 years too. So we should consider the both too. So it's not like we have peers who are already successful, then we shouldn't also think of people who we are successful at 50 years. So anytime it comes, fine. I'll just do my best in life and let things be on there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Delight. I think it's beautiful. And what I'm hearing a lot is the idea of the balance. How do I get the balance where I'm striving, but I'm also not putting so much pressure on myself that if one thing doesn't happen, life is falling apart. And I think that's something that's so difficult to create, but it's really interesting to see how you're putting it. And yeah, and I'm again even more excited to hear about our other panelists thing. And again, anyone can go.
Ma'am,
Go
can I
ahead.
proceed? Okay. Okay. Sorry, once. So, ma'am, what I have noticed that on a universal, for us as students, we need to make sure that no one is left behind. Like if someone is having food alone, that is out of choice and not of the situations they're in. I think that's how we need to see that everyone is in this together, ma'am. And as we all like we are conducting a support group in the Bangalore campus this Saturday, and it is such a important thing right now. I mean, I've had my friends come up to me and ask me, "What is a support group?" And I actually felt sad because a lot of people are not aware of the basic psychological help centers that are available. So, ma'am, I think awareness and yes, trying to see that everyone is included in it. That is where we need to focus on. And as mental health champs, we know that we're always there for the students, no matter what. But again, it needs to come from their end as well. We can't really impose things on them, right? So that's how. And as you said, what we do personally to, have kind of relax or get back to our mindset. What I do is sometimes when I have that, I face a lack of purpose in life. I kind of I feel very disturbed or disoriented with my surroundings. So what I do is, I have shared with you also before that I kind of go out on the streets and feed the stray dogs out there, because I realize ki maybe that's one difference I can create that day. Maybe I did not make 10 people smile, but maybe something somewhere, there was a difference that was created. That is somewhere, that's something that instills that purpose back in me, maybe temporarily, but it kind of keeps me going.
Beautiful. I think thank you so much for sharing that. And the idea is how these small acts become so important in promoting mental health. A lot of times it's assumed that you have to do something very big to take care of your mental health, that it's a full routine that needs to be followed. But how sometimes just these small rituals, taking a 10 minutes break, feeding the dog, spending time with yourself, how they create, how that's what makes you resilient on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Nishchita. Kirtana, would you like to go?
Yeah. Should I go after Manas? Because I think he's been wanting to speak for a while.
Sure. Sorry. Go ahead, Manas.
It's okay, but yeah. So what I feel like is now, as a society, everyone is just busy in their phones, and we don't have that much of interaction that we used to have before. So what I like to do is basically three things. One is I talk to everyone and anyone, whoever I can, like the security, from security guards to the mess wale bhaiyas, to everyone. The basic salutations like "Hi bhaiya, kaise ho? Good morning." And the way you show love to them, the attention you give, they give you attention right back. So you know how much they are being ignored and all. So it is a very friendly thing. And then you understand there is a larger world other than me. The narcissism reduces as you realize that there are other people in your play. And the second thing I like to do is, whenever I see any of my peers or my friends, they are sad, I just ask them out, like, would you like to go on a walk? Do you want to talk? Like being a bit empathetic and sympathetic towards people. And the third, my favorite thing, is taking a break. Whenever you feel like everything is going out of control, nothing is in your control, just take a break, order your favorite meal, watch your favorite movie. The one day you can have in your control, so you feel like, no, I have my life in control, and you can bounce back the next day. So I like to do these three things. Thank you.
Some really brilliant points, Manas. And I really hope that all our students who are listening via YouTube Live also are making note of these amazing pointers, because they are, again, like I mentioned, such simple techniques, so easy to implement, and they really create a difference. And the way that you're saying it, I think that's a testament in itself to show how it creates a difference. So thank you so much for sharing that.
So yeah, I feel like, so if you want to help and make an impact for other students, again, it doesn't need to be anything extravagant. It doesn't need to be anything big, like making multiple posters on the wall about why mental health is important. Yes, that's a great initiative. But more than that, it's just being there for the person. And it's super simple. It's just knowing how to listen to someone and acknowledging and validating them. That goes a very long way. So instead of telling someone that, like, no, your problem isn't there, like, it's just not there, like, forget it. What about it? It's just listening, and it goes such a long way, and it helps much more than, like, one can think. They don't A lot of times people may not even like need advice. Sometimes they just need someone to, like, hear their problem. And so being that person, you don't have to be a champ, you don't have to be like knowledgeable about like a lot of things. You just need to be there to listen. And that's one thing that students can do to, like, implement, like, and help other people around them in their mental health. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Kirtana. I think, I think listening is a skill that's so important, and how, again, it's just the idea of being there, just be present with someone. It's not about the big things, it's just about the smaller things. And again, you're reiterating that. So thank you so much for that. And I think Tejasvi.
Yes, ma'am. So initially, when I came on campus, I used to surround myself with a lot of people. Like I used to keep myself busy like making sure that I'm talking to people. But then I realized taking time for yourself is also necessary. So I used to take out time on Sundays where I'll just focus on myself, other than doing assignments and doing college stuff. I used to take out time for myself. Um, uh, Eating a healthy meal is also very good thing that you can do it for yourself. So I think these little things that we do for ourselves also create a big impact on our mental health.
Absolutely lovely. So if we had to just quickly summarize all the pointers that you had mentioned for our audience, I'm hearing a lot of breaks, like it's important to take a break, which is basically finding that balance between work and life, and how there's work and how life is separate. I'm hearing so much of social support that's important, and community support, which means that being there for people and letting other people be there for you, which is taking support and giving support equally. I'm hearing how important physical health is along with mental health, and how they go hand in hand. Like if you have a good physical health, how it contributes so much towards your mental health, and vice versa. And so many small and important pointers, and I really hope that our listeners benefit from it. So thank you so much for sharing. We are almost reaching our end, and I have one of my most important questions, which I'm really excited to hear your opinion about. What's your take on creating more mental health awareness on campus? Like if we had to make a university more mental health friendly, more mental health sensitive, which I'm sure you guys are already doing at your individual level. But if there were specific steps, or if you had an idea of how to create more mental health awareness, and if you would like to share it with the group, we would love to hear it.
So yeah, I feel like there are basically 3 steps that we need to take. First is decreasing the stressors. Whatever stressors the students face, like maybe that is academics, too much of assignments, or family pressures, whatever it is, we should decrease the stressors. Then we should reduce the impact. In reducing impact, we could help students build mindfulness by creating meditation centers, or we could have resilience building workshops or something like that, where a proper motivational speaker could come and lay some information on us. And the third one is tackle the aftermath. Like now, if we start from tomorrow, there are still many which have already been affected. So for them, we should instead of keeping the mental health in a corner and just going there when we need help, we should make it a regular activity. Like weekly, students should talk, did you go for that mental health thing? Did you go for your therapy? It should be a regular thing. Then like prevention is better than cure. So, we should mostly go regularly, other than all the things I said. Thank you.
I think Manas, you have beautifully pointed out our entire motive, which is promotive, preventive, and curative. It's exactly so much of what Q promotes. And at the student level, I think that definitely makes so much sense. So thank you for putting it out like that. Others? Steps to create mental health awareness? Yes,
Okay,
Delight, go ahead.
Manas has already he has said everything. So, and I fully agree with him. Like it's really, really important. And I also feel like what he said about the meditation centers, because meditation is really helpful, like, for mental health. And if it's possible to create posters in different campuses, like posters, design posters, place them in the different strategic places in the campus, promoting mental health activities, having a good sleep, listening to music, taking some rest, taking some meditation time, like uh, some quotes, some words we can create things that we can have some places, post them there where students can see them even while passing on the road. They can look at them, and I feel it's going to help.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Krishna, I think your video was, yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
yes, ma'am. So as students, we would be knowing how can the students be stressed out in the future. So we might be knowing an assignment is coming. Maybe the exams are in this month. Maybe the placement season starts. So we know students get stressed due to this. So before that, we can just help students with quick tips to organize their day, uh, to how to plan their things. So quick tips or any 10 minutes of student engaging activities we could perform with the batch. So these are few things which we are thinking at SIOM Nashik as of now. Uh, so yes.
Brilliant. I think quick handy tips are going to be something that they will also incorporate in their day-to-day lives, right?
Yes, maybe passing a music song as a message to the batch in their hectic schedule. Maybe
Nice.
that song lighten up their mood.
Yes,
Small
definitely.
things.
So definitely. I think this is something that we also do in a lot of our workshops, and I'm sure our counselors would agree with that, where we just start with any simple song, like any action song, we call it. So if you like it and you know it, clap your hands. And we just make them do it continuously, and how that just the energy level rises, and how small activities make such a big difference. Yes. Thank you so much, Krishna, for sharing that. Kirtana?
Right. So the thing is, I also agree with the light, which is also a little contradictory to what I first said. But that's I was talking on an individual level. But if you want to create an impact on like in the campus in general, then posters are a great way to do it. You can, as you mentioned, like quick tips on just and why we should do this, and also like symptoms, like not too detailed. It can be just like very basic symptoms of what an individual feels like if they're stressed, if they're having anxiety. And the thing is, obviously, these are not criteria for diagnosing a person with an issue, but it kind of helps them identify with themselves, or it helps peers identify with someone else that, oh, maybe they're going through this. Let's see how we can handle it. So, having posters that talk about how to deal with certain symptoms instead of like anxiety and depression as a whole, but instead of like just breathlessness or feeling disoriented, how to deal with that one step at a time could be great. And one lovely thing that I love about my campus in SSLA is that on our notice board, we have this one section. I cannot remember the name for the life of me, but it has these small post-it notes and that says like, oh, you got this and just keep swimming. And I think it's very endearing that, we could try implementing all over. And it's not someone else coming and writing these, it's students themselves that are going ahead and have written down these notes, and it's up for taking. If you want it, like the students can take it. And I think that's one great way of like showing that yes, there is a community here that supports you. So yeah.
I think that's such a brilliant and beautiful activity. And I hope that all of our campuses can implement it, because it sounds so simple, but again, it again builds this idea that we are there and we are there together in this, and you don't have to go through this alone. So thank you so much for sharing that. Others?
Hello, ma'am. So, yeah, so adding to what Manas said, a lot of guest sessions and having a lot of motivational speakers or counselors for that matter come and address us, the entire batch, because we have a lot of guest sessions when it comes to academics. But when it comes to our personal development, mental and emotional well-being, I think we can like kind of focus there. And not only just mental health and emotional well-being, it's a very broad concept. Maybe we can have talks about, as you said, stress management, suicide prevention, self-help activities, social media addiction, how to battle social media addictions as well, because directly, indirectly, a lot of us are facing that. And also LGBTQA plus affirmative sessions where we kind of encourage people and we educate people. Education here is very important because a lot of people are still unaware of these things, sensitive issues. So maybe there when we can throw some light on issues which we don't usually speak about in our normal lives. So I think, yeah, sessions like that would really be beneficial.
Absolutely. Again, promotive and preventive sessions around the multifaceted topics that you're talking about. Definitely. I'm not sure who's left. I think Tejasvi is left. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I think small sessions like interactive sessions with faculty can be scheduled, like where students get to learn about their experiences and not just course-oriented things. Maybe they can play a game of dumb charades, or maybe something Pictionary, something like that. Small things where students get to interact with the faculty. I think these little things uh, will make the atmosphere a bit light, and I think will boost up the mental health of all the students there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. I think these are some really amazing steps and suggestions. And I think one thing that all of us would agree with is how all of these steps are something that are easy to implement. You're talking about small measures that we can actually do and we can actually take care of. And it's really interesting how you guys are coming up with such innovative ideas. And that is the entire idea of university mental health, to hear the voices of our main stakeholders, which is you guys. And thank you so much for doing this, for sharing your thoughts and opinions with us so openly and so frankly. And I think Team Q is really grateful for hearing you out. And on that note, I would also like to introduce our head, which is Dr. Girija. Thank you so much, Dr. Girija, for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, totally. First of all, thank you, Shubhika, and thank you, Team Q, for providing the mental health support to all the stakeholders on the university campus. A special thanks to Kirtana, Krishna, Nishita, Delight, Tejasvi, and Manas. It was an absolute pleasure listening to all of you, and you have so much energy, enthusiasm, awareness, knowledge, very encouraging to hear you all. And I have noted down all your suggestions. So definitely we take your suggestions very seriously, because you are the main stakeholder on the campus. University is nobody without you, and you mean a lot to us. So I would just like to summarize by just letting our audience know what plans Q has for the university moving forward. We have been on the campus now for the last 4 years, and with every year we are growing and we are learning from students, from their experiences about what more we can provide. So in the last 4 years, we have realized that having campus counselors, which are easily accessible and available, has definitely made a difference, whereby students find it very easy to seek help. Even then, there is hesitation in some students' minds, where sometimes when you have a lot of things going on for yourself, it becomes very difficult to come out of that shell and talk to a counselor openly, which is why having these awareness sessions on a large scale is equally important. And while we were trying to do that over the last 4 years, unfortunately, we were not able to cover all institutes in a more consistent manner. Therefore, this year, we have approached the management and we are proposing a 1 credit course for all the institutes, which will cover most important topics which you already mentioned, including stress management, suicide prevention, talking about how do we recognize the signs and symptoms of common mental health issues, relationship management, because I did hear that, peer pressures are very significant in this age group. How do you tackle with, unhealthy coping strategies like substance use or screen addiction is something that we are going to include in that 1 credit course. Along with that, I think it's also very important to have students involved in the process of supporting students, which is why we have been running the Mental Health Champions program. And I'm really proud to say that while we had just 50 students last year, this year we have an astounding 178 mental health champions within our university. And we actually had many more applications, but Team SKU is only of limited members, and our training can only be given to therefore a limited number of students. So while this year we're having 178, I'm sure in the coming years we'll keep adding to those MHChamps. So what do MHChamps mean? MHChamps will be the peer support, the peer mentor group on your campus whom you can approach in need or when in distress. Because my dear friends, after hours, especially when you are in your hostels, in the evening hours, when when academics thoughts seem to bounce back, right? It's that empty space when you're with yourself. That's when all the negative thoughts, all the pressures seem to come upon you. It's that time that when you really need to talk to someone. And that's where our mental health champions are really going to be of value, where you can really reach out to these students on campus and express to them if you're feeling distressed. And of course, the mental health champion will thereby then guide you to reach your campus counselor and seek further therapy or counseling. By no means mental health champions are going to be your campus counselors. They won't be a replacement by any means, but definitely they will be the first responders or the person that you can reach out to in case of any immediate help that you need. Apart from that, of course, we do plan to also include mental health screening. We know that SIU is a health promoting university. And while you all students might be undergoing a health checkup every year at the health center, mental health is something that doesn't get screened. And why not? So what we plan to introduce is mental health screening from this year, which will be completely confidential. It will be an online screening tool that we will be sharing a link with all of you students at the induction time itself. You just have to fill in your response. It won't take more than 10 to 15 minutes of your time. It won't be encroaching on your on your academic time. So you can do it in your free time when you are feeling relaxed. You can fill in the form. The results will be only accessible to the SKU team. And based on the scoring, we will let you know whether you need to see a counselor, or in case of severe cases, we'll immediately contact you and make sure that the necessary help is provided to the student. So these are some of the action points that we plan to take in the coming year. I hope I have the support of, I can see some faculty also joining in today's session, and which are my regular viewers. I do see Dr. Varun, who is a faculty at the Economics Institute, and I see Preeti Mule ma'am, who also keeps encouraging us and actively participates in all activities, and also has provided her help to SKU as well at many times. And there has been a lot of requests from faculty to also be a part of the MH Champions program. So they are also very keen to be a part of the MH Champions program and be the support system for fellow faculty or fellow non-teaching staff, which I feel is very encouraging for SKU, to have many more hands to work together to build a compassionate and thriving community at Symbiosis is the vision we share together. So with these words, I'd like to say a big thank you to all those who have joined and all those who are probably watching us on YouTube. I wish you a happy University Mental Health Day and wish you success in your future life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining in. We are open to questions now in case anyone has any questions for us. If the panelists have any questions that we can address, then please go ahead. Or if anyone else, if you can mention it in the chat box if you have any questions, and we can address it in the next 2-3 minutes.
If there are any questions or suggestions, anything that you feel SKU needs to improve on, that's also completely okay. And support groups is a great idea. I think what Shubhika is doing this Saturday is amazing. I think, collectively we are more strong as opposed to individual. There is a lot of power in collectivism. And I think India stands for collective. And I guess most of the problems are stemming because of the globalized world. So it's very important that we realize the importance of this collectiveness and connectedness to be able to deal with all the problems that these social challenges that we encounter in day-to-day life.
Ma'am, can I suggest something?
Yes, surely.
Okay, ma'am. I don't know. I think the school or the colleges, during the holidays, when we have like a festive holiday, the school is giving 1 day break or 1 day holiday. Some colleges or some teachers, they make sure that the student doesn't still have time for themselves. They make sure they load assignments, and deadlines, and make sure that this project must be done during that particular. But the time the students should at least have that time for themselves, and they should at least, yeah, during school periods, you give assignments, you do them. But when there is like 1 day break, allow the student to at least go back and have some rest from school and get back to themselves and back to college. Instead of, I don't know if it's
correct.
suggested
One day
college.
dedicated for mental health is what I hear. And that's a brilliant suggestion. I will certainly put it up to management. I don't assure you anything at this point because unfortunately that decision doesn't stand with me. But I'll certainly take this suggestion and we can have a voting poll maybe.
Yes.
And ask them if mental health day is something or a stress-free day, holiday for that, for rejuvenating yourself, or a medical leave that could be used for your mental health. Could we do that? I mean, that's a great suggestion, and maybe Shubhika, that's an idea that pops in my mind now, that we should conduct a poll activity and find out how many of the students, and then they take, because see, student voice is important for the management. Dr. Girija says nothing happens, but 10,000 students speak, much more things can happen. So
Yes,
definitely we'll conduct a poll and take it forward.
Ma'am, Preeti Mule ma'am want to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Stu. Good evening, Dr. Girija. Wonderful session indeed. One quick question, as I already texted in the chat box, that I definitely would love to go ahead with more empowered mentoring. I'm not, I'm just a mother. I'm just here for my students, but not technically trained to mentor my students in a proper manner. So, can you suggest how we go about it? Are there any FDPs or are there any online courses which will help us achieve that?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Preeti, for showing so much interest. See, we have such great faculty at SIU, who go beyond academics and are so invested in their students. That's really very encouraging. So, Dr. Preeti, we do run a couple of FDPs. There are 2 FDPs, faculty development programs, that we run. One is named as Understanding Me, Understanding You, which is based on emotional intelligence, where we, through activities, we train in understanding your own self, and thereby also understanding others and developing the capacity to empathize and communicate effectively. That's one workshop that we undertake. And also skills on emotional regulation is what we train through this workshop. The second workshop is psychological first aid training, which again, we are doing it for the mental health champions as well. This is basically, how do you support someone who is in distress? How do you offer that human supportive response to anybody who is in distress, is something that we train faculty in. Dr. Varun has attended our FDP on PFA, so he can give you the testimony for the workshop. And secondly, are there any online courses? I'm sure there are online courses on brief counseling courses. Not currently as such, SCEW does not have any online courses, but we shortly plan to come up with such certificate courses in counseling and therapy. In fact, our 4-year program that we now envision. So we are already running a BSc in mental health program from last year. And this year, as per the NEP and as per UGC suggestion, we are making it a 4-year program. So the 4th year that we plan to introduce is the year that we will have a certificate course in counseling and psychotherapy. So for which other people would also be eligible to take it, especially those who have basic understanding of psychology would be able to take it. And I'm sure, as Varun has mentioned in the chat box as well, there are courses on Coursera as well, which allow you to train yourself in that field. I hope I've answered your question.
Wonderful. Yes, I'll go through this particular link and I'll be in touch with you so that, I wish to utilize this time so that before my students, new students come to the campus, I'll be more ready, to answer their questions, to help them if need be. Thank you so much, Dr. Girija.
And we are always there to help and support you.
Of course. Yes, looking forward to meeting you soon.
Yes, that meeting is pending.
Yep.
Kirtana, I just wrote one message in the chat box about a board because I had also heard about, something people write what made them happy on the board. So what was in your institute? What was the board about? Am I audible?
Right. Yeah, you're audible. I was just taking my time to type it out. I'm a really slow typer, so. But yeah, so our board actually, as of right now, it has a lot of like motivational, small, cute motivational messages of like, you got this, and like, just keep swimming. And it has like small drawings on it of like, so the just keep swimming is associated with the Dory from Finding Nemo. So they have a drawing of that. But it could really just be anything that helps lift in the moods of students. So if it were up to me, I'd put a bunch of like dad jokes that I know students would hate, but at the same time, it would bring a smile. It can be anything. It can be, if you think a motivational message is what they require, then a motivational message of acknowledging them and telling them that they've got this. If you think a joke would help lighten their day, that can go there. It can be both of these things. It can be more things that you want to implement. And so that's what we have right now. It's motivational messages that they can take, but it really is just anything that helps lifts the spirits of students. So I hope that
Thank
answered
you.
your question. I'm
Yes,
not
yes,
sure.
absolutely. You have answered it well. Thank you. Thank you. I think this is one thing which I will definitely try to get it done in our college, to have a board, and also not to give assignments on holidays and give them a breather on the festival. So Delight, at least a faculty has got sensitized not to do it, not to overburden on a festival day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If we don't have any more questions, should we close the session, Shubhika?
Yes, ma'am. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, our faculty, for joining us, Dr. Girija and Team SKU, our lovely panelists, for joining us today. And we hope to conduct more such events with you all. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.